Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Oerman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That it is. Welcome into Old School here on a beautiful Tuesday in the capital city. Got a fantastic show lined up for you. Austin Oerman and Nick Wyman with you, 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Brought to you, as always, by the good folks at Graham Tire. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire getting you to the places that matter most. You got Mr. Winter Olympics in the house for Old School. Nick Wyman, how are you?
Hey, I've been bought into the Olympics. You know, I'm a night owl, so usually around.
Really, our midnight guy's a night owl.
Yeah, shocker.
Funny.
It's a pretty good role, I guess, for me. But no, I've been able to watch a little bit. USA mixed curling, the Corey squared were able to get silver. Got knocked off by Sweden this afternoon, and then USA was up 4-0 on Canada in preliminary play. So, America, the women hockey team in preliminary play are still undefeated and been able to kind of handle business throughout so far. So far so good. NHL players playing here in a couple days. That'll be nice. First time since 2014.
Yeah, we got the NHL guys in the Winter Olympics here soon. We have baseball players, MLB players in the World Baseball Classic again. I think 11 guys from our dearly beloved Kansas City Royals. Around that many, including some guys signed to minor league deals with camp invites. Definitely going to have to talk about more of that when that gets closer. Not long from that getting going. We will talk some spring training with the teams beginning to report this week. Lots to get to on that front. A pretty notable signing in the American League Central. What's the rationale behind that? But of course, in our next segment, we will talk about our Kansas City Royals. To lead off the show, though, Nick, Nebraska, Purdue is a big deal for a lot of people, and really the stretch run for Nebraska men's basketball. The matchup against Purdue, I think, holds a lot of intrigue. Obviously, it's a top 15 matchup between those two teams. But really, I think what Purdue and Nebraska want to do is really similar. And seeing how Nebraska matches up against a team that plays a similar style to it is going to be interesting. And there's not a lot of teams with the statistical profile that both Nebraska and Purdue have. At the time that we're saying this, they're back-to-back on Bart Torvik. There's one team between them on Ken Pomeroy and just a couple teams between them at Evan Miyakawa. But both these teams want to play slow. Both these teams take a fair share of threes in their shot diet. Nebraska taking a significant amount more, but we know that Purdue has had some marksmen in the past. Both teams will give up some threes. Neither team gets to the free throw line. Neither team turns the ball over.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's looking in a mirror pretty much at both teams, which in past years, Purdue's come to Lincoln and Nebraska's been able to kind of hand them a loss. They a couple of years ago did that here. Nebraska struggled up there in West Lafayette from time to time, but now game at PBA, and it's a weird time for Purdue. Purdue obviously is always in the top 10 for the last couple of years. They've been a very consistent team under Matt Painter. A 3-game skid. You don't really see that out of a Boilermaker men's basketball program. You don't really see it too much.
They barely lost 3 games some of the last couple of years.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then they lose to UCLA on a tough shot that goes in right at the end of the game by the Bruins. Illinois, obviously, Keaton Wagler had the game, scoring 46 points at their place. And then you lose to a rival in Indiana, and that one had to have stung because that is your biggest rival in the conference. That is the Nebraska-Iowa for Purdue, Indiana. And then handle business against Maryland, obviously. Maryland's not great this year, and they were able to just get back on the right track, get right game. And then kind of a weird score on Saturday. Oregon, tough matchup a little bit, but they were able to kind of duke that one out and squeeze out a win. And like we say, any win in the Big Ten is a good win, and Purdue is able to get back on the winning skid, kind of like Nebraska. They're both kind of in the same, like you said, mirror images. They're kind of the same in the same sense.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue's losses didn't come to the same caliber of competition necessarily that Nebraska's did, losing, on the road at Michigan, then at home to Illinois for Nebraska. Of course, Purdue got blown out at home by Iowa State earlier in the year, lost on the road at UCLA, lost at home in Mackey Arena to Illinois, and then dropped a tough one on the road rivalry game against Indiana. But just kind of a mediocre, kind of slightly above average Indiana team. They've bounced back with 2 straight wins since then. And the statistical numbers would tell you Purdue and Nebraska are pretty similar. One place where they differ, though, and this is, I think, important to keep in mind as Nebraska really looks at the week that is to come, really through next Tuesday, coming up against Iowa, is Nebraska's going to play some teams that play slower than it does. Nebraska's not exactly moving at breakneck pace, 68.3 possessions per game. Purdue slows it all the way down to 66.4, so almost 2 fewer possessions per game. You look at Northwestern, who will be the opponent on Saturday, 66.9 possessions per game. And then you look at Iowa, all the way down at 65.6 possessions per game, which is only 17th out of 18 teams in the conference because Minnesota plays slower. So that's 3 teams in a row there, Nick, where Nebraska will be facing a challenge of slowing it down. And I know Nebraska wants to do that, execute in the half court. Purdue's defense hasn't been great. Iowa's done a good job of limiting threes, and we've seen Nebraska Northwestern already this year. It's these slower games that I don't know if they concern me for Nebraska, but without that true go-to guy, with Rink Mash having one good game now really in the last month against Rutgers, with DeMarcus Lawrence going in stops and starts, Sam Hoiberg going in stops and starts offensively, same with, Sanford and Frager. These half-court games where it comes down to execution, I think they should worry any team. I have my Duke basketball fandom. I always hated watching the Virginia game or hated watching the Syracuse game because when you have so few possessions, execution and finishing off possessions is at a premium. I think there's still a little scar tissue for me when it comes to Nebraska with offensive rebounding. Nebraska going cold. They've had a 3+ minute scoring drought, I think, in each of the last few games. And then when you have this few number of possessions, and again, it's for Nebraska at 68, these other teams at 65 or 66, it doesn't seem like a big deal. Man, these teams want to bleed the clock. They want Nebraska to have to play slowly. And, you trust a guy like a Braden Smith to make a tough shot. You trust a Bennett Sturts to make a tough shot. Nick Martinelli's been one of the best scorers in the Big Ten Conference for a couple of years now. Nebraska does it by committee. Nebraska has guys that can do it, but I don't think there's a guy on Nebraska's roster that you would say hitting that shot is the top of the scouting report for what they do, right? Even Price Sanford, it's the movement. It's the activity. Rink Mast, it's the versatility. Sam Hoiberg, it's the defense. DeMarcus Lawrence, it's the pace. Other guys on other teams, that's the first thing. They will hit tough shots. Nebraska can do it, but Nebraska doesn't make a living doing it, which is, number one, to their credit. That's good team offense. But number two, we've seen at times when Nebraska gets bogged down, doesn't always have that guy that can put it in the bucket at the end of the shot clock.
Nebraska, I'm not worried of this game just because of how they've been able to win games different ways. High scoring games, they've won those. The Oklahoma game, neutral site game against them. The Michigan State game was kind of what they expected. It was kind of a grinded out game where it kind of came down to it did come down to the last possession, and that's kind of was a lower scoring game. I think it was the first one Fred Hoiberg's won, scoring that little of points during his tenure at Nebraska. But like you said, Purdue's got some guys like Braden Smith who's going to make big time shots. That game against Illinois, that is what he does, and he's only been there for 4 years. He's one of those guards where it feels like he's been there for 5 or 6 years, just because he's kind of a thorn in the side for a lot of the Big Ten teams, and that is just what his role is, and he's been able to do it and do it at a high level.
The Purdue matchup, especially with Trey Kaufman right in the short roll, is intriguing. Obviously, Braden Smith, right, handling the ball, Purdue is going to put it in his hands a lot. Nebraska had quite a few answers from Nick Martinelli. They made his life pretty tough the first time that those two teams played. I am really excited, though, for that Iowa matchup, right? Because it's just so different stylistically from what Iowa was under Fran McCaffrey, right? They were one of those teams that was at the top of the conference in pace. They would get their shots up, kind of a skewed defense at times. Then they bring in Ben McCollum, whose teams at Northwest Missouri State and then Drake played among the slowest in the country. And Iowa has certainly taken that to heart so far. Obviously, you get the rivalry game factor. Nebraska not always playing that well in Carver Hawkeye Arena. That game will be coming up in about the 17th of February. So that's going to be a really interesting one. And I think the way the schedule sets up for Nebraska, Nick, it builds, right? That Nebraska isn't going to be going into these games surprised, right? It's not like Nebraska is coming off of the breakneck game against Michigan, which, to be fair, Nebraska did slow down more than I think other prognosticators would have told you they were going to. But being able to go through, a little bit slower of an Illinois team, especially PBA, a relatively slow, deliberate Rutgers team, into a Purdue team that takes its time, a Northwestern team that isn't, going at breakneck speed, and then Iowa. I think it builds pretty well for Nebraska to get used to playing in those games again, where they had a little bit of a faster run of things. It's slowing back down. And if Nebraska had gone from Michigan to Iowa, man, that style of play would be all over the place, right? You got to get back in transition, got to hustle back. Iowa, like Nebraska, won't push it. Northwestern won't as much. Purdue, if they have an advantage. But I do kind of like how the schedule sets up for Nebraska the rest of the way.
You totally hit the nail on that one. They have a very similar style of play. The team's left on the calendar for the next 5 at home, too. They got at the road stretch, the beef of the schedule there. But you look at the schedule, you only see one ranked team on there. Don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you. The Iowa games will be, as always, are going to be intense. Then you have Penn State, Maryland, and Northwestern, which you'd think you'd handle business. But like you said, the Big Ten Conference it's college basketball. Like we saw last week, Portland, you see upsets galore happening in college basketball. You have to come to play every night. And then the West Coast trip will be really fun because USC and UCLA are really quality teams. UCLA is playing really good basketball right now. Those are 2 games you can, mark on the calendars. They're going to be later because later start times being, the UCLA one, I should say. The other one's I believe a 2:00 tip, but West Coast time, it's a little different. But and then Iowa to close out the regular season, final game, senior day. And then new season starts. The Big Ten tournament should be a fun one. You can look at the bracket right now. Nebraska is control of the 3 seed with the new tournament format, adding in everybody in the conference, and adds a whole new realm into possibilities of how that can shake out.
The KenPom numbers as it stands right now give Nebraska a positive win probability right now in 7 of the 8 remaining games. The only loss projected 1 point at Iowa as it sits right now. Nebraska, though, Nick, to your point, projected in a lot of close games. The only games outside of single digits, Nebraska's projected to beat Northwestern by 14 in Lincoln, and then they're given back-to-back 20-point wins as it stands right now over Penn State and Maryland with 97% win probabilities in those 2 games. Other than that, you have a 3-point projection against Purdue, a 1-point loss projection against Iowa, a 5-point win projection against USC. You're +2 right now at UCLA, and a 5-point win projection at home against Iowa. And that's where I think if you start looking at that big picture for Nebraska men's basketball, it's good that it feels like they kind of lighten up a little bit coming off of the stretch that Nebraska had, right, with, going to a pesky Northwestern team, a tough Washington team at home, road win over Minnesota looms large because Minnesota's picked off 3 ranked teams in the barn. Nebraska found a way to survive it. Then your back-to-back games against top 10 competition. Nebraska doesn't have many scrubs left on the schedule. Northwestern 67th in KenPom, Penn State and Maryland outside the top third of the country as it stands right now. But, Maryland will pose some challenges with its style of play, and everyone else is within the KenPom, top 70. So yeah, lightens up, like you said, with only 1 ranked team on the schedule. Iowa's on the periphery, top 20, according to a lot of the metrics. So it's easier, but it's still challenging. Not to where Nebraska can let its guard down and relax at the end of the regular season and then have to lock back in come tournament time.
They're still duking it out for the seeding for the tournament, too. So these games mean a lot. Every game means something.
Yeah.
And these games, like with, right now, Nebraska sitting at the 3 spot. If the Big Ten tournament starts at UCLA, would be that quarterfinal matchup. That is a team where UCLA has been able to prove that, hey, they can hang with the big dogs. They're number 6 spot. There's a team that Iowa's lurking in there too. There are a couple teams lurking in that spot. And once you get your neutral site, you never know what's going to happen. You've seen teams in conference tournaments be a 1 seed and get picked off. And then a team like NC State a couple years ago. NC State got red hot.
Thanks for bringing that one up. Thanks, man.
NC State was on nobody's radar. Become one of the tournament top stories.
You could have done the UCLA team that went to the Final Four.
NC State, everybody liked that. A feel good team. DJ Burns, everybody liked it. And
everybody liked it. I mean, everybody. Who is everybody?
99.9% of people, minus you. And then but that was the most recent one, I would say, that most people got behind. Not everybody, most people. I will correct myself there, not to add you out of that one.
I don't take it too personal, but come on, man. North Carolina State, but so many great, Final Four runs, and I know they come to mind. You couldn't have done FAU, couldn't have done San Diego State finally breaking through.
Those teams, FAU was kind of projected to make the tournament that year, as in they got their conference and everything. But that NC State at that time was nobody's radar. They weren't even close, and then they just got hot in the tournament, and that's how it went. And Nebraska's had a couple runs like that in the tournament where they've gotten past a couple teams. Johnny Trueblood, those years, though, man, he was the heart and soul at the time, and got Nebraska past Wisconsin and everything. And then they didn't win the tournament. But there's teams like that, or you got to look out for, because they're playing with everything on the line. Their seasons on the line, some careers on the line, and whatnot. So you got to come to play every game, especially in the Big Ten Conference, and with the tournament also expanding, adding the entire conference now into the tournament.
I'm going to pull up that run that you mentioned, because I distinctly remember watching that one. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that was Miles' last team, would have been in 18-19, the one that made that run. Of course, that was a team that started the year off really hot, right after the snub from the NCAA tournament. Nebraska gets off to an 11-2 start to the year, lose on the road at Maryland in heartbreaking fashion, on the road at Iowa, bounced back with a couple wins, and then things kind of went off the rails there after the new year. They go on the road. They beat Indiana for that second win of that stretch, lose a tight one at home to Michigan State, lose on the road at Rutgers, Ohio State at home, Wisconsin at home, at Illinois, lose to Maryland, and then lose on the road at Purdue by 19 points. There to go from what was a team that was 13-4 to a team that was 13-11, had another 4-game losing streak at the end of the year as well. But 3 of those 4 came to ranked opponents. So Nebraska enters the Big Ten tournament just 16-15 after a dramatic senior day win over Iowa. That would have been the Thorbjarnarson, Amir Harris, I think it was, flipped in the game winner.
Yep.
Tanner Borkart was on that team as well. That Iowa team was Bohannon, Wieskamp, Moss, Garza, and Cook.
Wow.
In the starting lineup. Connor McCaffrey coming off the bench. The starters for Nebraska, Glenn Watson led the way. James Palmer Jr., Isaiah Roby as well. Those 3 guys combined for, quick math, 73, I believe it would be. Yeah, 73 of Nebraska's 93 points. But it was, of course, Amir Harris and Thorbjarnarson. Got a thunder. You remember the call from KP.
Yep.
Nebraska wins its first round game against Rutgers by 7. They knock off number 21 Maryland in that one, 69-61. And then, Nick, I remember this game against Wisconsin. It just felt like Nebraska ran out of gas. They had it in the first half. They were only down by 5. They make their run in the second half. But I remember, just like with most Tim Miles teams, there came that wall, that offensive dead zone. They hit it. And, of course, you're playing with just 6 guys at that point in the tournament. You had 3 starters play 40 minutes in Watson, Palmer, and Roby. Thorbjarnarson played 30, Borkart 22, and Johnny Trueblood had to play 28 minutes.
And that's playing and that's playing 2 games the prior 2 days.
Yeah, third game in 3 days.
That's very core memory unlocked right now, because that was not very long ago. And it's like, look at that. And those are the teams you got to look out for in the tournaments, because, Wisconsin at the time, I mean, who's on this Wisconsin team back then?
Ooh, that Wisconsin team. I'm glad you asked.
Because I'm just curious. I'm trying to think of some names. Like, was Ethan Happ around?
Okay, that was the Ethan Happ team. Nebraska held him to 4 points on 4 shots. Also had 7 assists, or 7 rebounds and 4 assists, with 7 turnovers in that one.
Jeez,
the other
defense, man.
The bench for that team: Aleem Ford, Brevin Pritzel, and Kobe King. One-time Nebraska men's basketball transfer. Kobe King.
Yep.
Can you name the other 4 starters on that Wisconsin?
No shot.
You can name one of them.
It's Chucky Hepper. It was Chucky.
Nope,
Chucky was still at Bell West at the time.
The starting point guard for them went 2 of 10 on the day for 11 points. Brad Davison.
I was gonna say him. Ben Brust has like a core. He's another guy.
Nope,
he was way before.
Earlier.
I remember he had a game winner against Michigan famously.
Yep.
Brad Davidson was also another one of those kind of point guards. Remember, Braden Smith, I mentioned, kind of a thorn in your side, annoying. He's going to make shots. That game struggled, obviously.
The other Wisconsin starters, Nate Reavers.
Okay.
Demetric Trice.
Yep.
And Khalil Iverson.
I remember him. Yeah.
Reavers and Iverson both went for 14 points, made 6 shots from the floor.
Wow. That is a time. But like you said, like Big Ten tournament, you have to come to play, especially in any of them, like the ACC one we mentioned. There are even if you're the top seed, you can look like, okay, we are going to be in the quarterfinals, and then you have just you're two more games away. A spoiler team could totally wreck that for you, and then you're sitting at home for the next 2 days, and then you're just waiting for Selection Sunday. So not trying to get ahead of ourselves. There's still a month. There's still 4 or 5 weeks of the regular season left, but control what you can control, I think, is the biggest thing for Nebraska basketball so far going forward.
Ben on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line says, Nebraska found that scoring dead zone this year versus Michigan and Illinois in the 2 losses. Hopefully that stays away down the stretch. You would also point out that Nebraska went into a bit of a rut against Washington late in that one. I would also say, I mean, they went, I think, the last 4 minutes and change without a field goal against Rutgers. And again, it was the end of the game, not a huge deal, but, if you can push it to 85 or 86 points instead of, sitting there at 80, it's nice to end the game on a positive note. But Nick, that's the thing that Nebraska, maybe fans have to get a little more comfortable with it. Fred Hoiberg promised the offense, right? We still saw some of those scoring droughts with his early teams, and then they're popping up with this team. Scoring gets tougher when you enter the Big Ten. I got to get the Ken Pom numbers pulled back up to find Nebraska's rank in the conference. But I think part of the deal for Nebraska is the number 3 or number 5 offense in the Big Ten and the number 3 defense right now, just in only conference games. That's really good. That makes sense that Nebraska is where it's at in the standings with that. Is you don't like the field goal drought, but that's where I think 2 things need to be kept in mind. Number 1, Nebraska can get hot in a hurry. So you can survive it if you can make up for it. Or maybe you make up for it and then, you have your run and then you go cold. That's, what's happened in Nebraska for the most part this year. But the fact that they can score in bunches is a feather in their cap. Now, the other thing to keep in mind then with the scoring drought, you got to get to the free throw line. Something Nebraska hasn't done a whole lot this year. In fact, they're last in the Big Ten in free throw rate when it comes to conference-only games, and they're 357th out of 365 teams all season long. So that would be an easy way, at least in theory, for Nebraska to quell some of those scoring droughts. Even if you have a field goal drought, DeMarcus Lawrence, get to the line. Sam Hoiberg, get to the line. Go to rink mask in the post, something, and try to draw a foul. Because, Nebraska won't be able to survive, 3-minute scoring droughts or 4-minute scoring droughts when the calendar turns to March and it's one and done. It's just not a way to win games consistently.
And especially against Purdue. Purdue is going to be a team that's not going to go on a drought like that. They're going to be able to play consistently throughout those 40 minutes of play. The rest of the way, you look at a team, UCLA, USC, they've hung with some good teams. Penn State's hung with some of the elite teams of the Big Ten this year.
Should have beat Michigan.
Exactly. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they've ended up on the long end of a tight game, and they hung with Michigan at the time. Michigan was looking like they were untouchable at the time.
Yeah.
But they were Penn State, and they were gritty and were able to make it close. So, like you said, I think if you can counteract, cross out, have those 4 minutes, win the 4 minutes, those 4 minutes where you go on a drought, but then the next 8 minutes you are going nuclear from the floor. Somehow to cancel that out, because if against the elite teams, against the teams who have solid defenses, are able to put the ball in the hoop consistently on the other end, going on those droughts will hurt you come, postseason play.
Sure will. It's around the corner. Still a ways away, but you peer your head around, and hey, guess what? You can see it just down the road. He's Nick Weinman. I'm Austin Norman, also just down the road. How about some baseball, folks?
Yep, feeling like some baseball weather.
Teams are reporting. Pitchers and catchers are getting there. Let's talk about the Kansas City Royals. Some players we're interested in watching. We'll do that next on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing, a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovbneb.com foremanandorman.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Let Sartor Heyman Jewelers help you be a hero this Valentine's Day. We have great gifts in store now, and if you spend $129, we'll throw in a free bouquet of roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905. In Lincoln and Grand Island and online at sartorheyman.com.
Dinner and a movie? You've done that. Arbor Axe House has a date night deal that really hits. This Valentine's Day, enjoy a special rate that includes an hour of axe throwing for 2 plus drinks and koozies. Reserve your lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House on the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Most resolutions for the new year fail before January is even over. Why not resolve to just be a little bit cleaner in 2026? Nebraska Auto Detail is here for you. Now through March 30th, if you purchase a ceramic coating, you'll get a free interior detail. There's no better way to start your year than taking care of your car and decluttering the mess that it becomes so easily. Book your detail today at NebraskaAutoDetail.com or call Joe and the team at 402-601-5086.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their Contact Us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Norman, Nick Wyman with you here today. 402-464-5685. Which Royals are you most intrigued by in spring training and beyond? Big thanks as well to the folks at Heartland of Nebraska Windows for sponsoring hour one of the show. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska. They offer free estimates, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. You can give them a call today for more info at 402-430-3852. You can also visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Nick, I know you have a bullet point list pulled up. I don't know exactly how you went about thinking through this and the Royals that you want to see. Let's go ahead and start on the mound. Do you have any guys in the pitching staff for the Royals that hold your intrigue here in spring training?
I have two guys.
Okay.
They're Cole Reagans, Chris Bubich. Will they stay healthy? Because you look at those two guys, what they've kind of accomplished during their tenure with the club.
Mm-hmm.
They need to stay healthy because last year Reagans obviously goes down. Bubich has had his injuries, in the past.
Yeah.
We saw him have Tommy John, and then it's like, what's going to happen? Kind of gets a little bit of bullpen role in that postseason team, and was pretty good at it.
Right.
But now he moves back into pitching, being a starter. Those are the two guys, because if those two guys, I don't know what the Royals do with innings without him, but I do trust the bullpen. I really like the bullpen.
Okay.
You need consistent starters, and if those two guys are healthy and being able to log a lot of innings, a lot of games, I have no worries with the pitching. We'll get into everything else, but those are the two guys I kind of circled real quick before we went on the air here. Just Cole Reagans and Chris Bubich staying healthy.
More important for Chris Bubich to stay healthy as a pitcher or as a trade chip?
They could go both ways. It depends how the season shakes out. There's been rumors about him getting traded and everything and whatnot, and he is still, pretty young arm. He's pitched in big games, big moments, especially in that postseason run a couple of years ago for the Royals. It's interesting. It depends where they're at in the trade deadline in July, where it's months away. It's the first day of, reporting the spring training, but the trade deadline is going to be in July or late July, and it depends where the Royals are at and what they need and how kind of some other guys will get into how they perform and what the Royals team needs at that moment will play a big factor in that.
Yeah, on the mound for me, at least in terms of the starters, I would say certainly with health, Seth Lugo. Is he the true number 2 in that rotation again, or does he settle in to kind of that 3 or 4 range? Because I think pretty clearly it's Cole Reagans at the top of that rotation, right? Bubich pitched like a 1 when he was healthy last year. Big breakout for him. Noah Cameron, supposed to be kind of a swing guy, quad A depth piece, pitched like a number 3 for most of last year, and at times even like a 2. But if Seth Lugo's a 3, Michael Wacha's a 3, Chris Bubich comes back a little bit to earth, and Noah Cameron slides back, there's no second guy in the rotation that you really need in a postseason series. Enough quality arms to get you through a regular season. But that's where I'm looking at, is Bubich still on the roster? If he's healthy for the first 2-3 weeks of spring training, is he out the door for another bat? Probably in the outfield or even potentially at second base. I would also say that that's where you look at a Ryan Berger. How healthy is he? He really flashed some upside as a guy I think can really step into that number 2 starter role. Stephen Kolek had his moments last year. I'm not sure about the ceiling there. Maybe it's him. But I think the big takeaway in the starting rotation, Nick, is we feel so much better about the state of the rotation now than we did even like 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago.
Agreed. And they made some trades there last year, got some guys. Obviously, playoffs were not on the minds really at that moment. The Royals were kind of just in that 8 or 9 games back. You'd have to put on a little bit of a win streak and need some help to get in. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like pitching, even you go back a couple of years ago, pitching was kind of a nightmare. There, you never knew what the heck to get out of the bullpen. From about 2018 to 2020, you didn't really know what to do. Scott Barlow was there. But outside of that, it was like cross your fingers and hope something. Maybe a ground ball hits a fielder, or a pop fly goes right to an athlete. You didn't really know what to expect.
Shout out Scott Barlow.
Yeah,
should have been traded earlier. So should Whit Merrifield. Have you heard? Were you around when I was talking to Sainert about the Whit Merrifield stuff back in the day?
No, but that was his end of his Royals tenure was very interesting.
So, rumor has it the Royals and Cubs were close to a deal for Whit Merrifield.
Yes,
that likely would have brought back Nico Horner.
That would have been wild.
Man,
that would have been a wild.
Dayton Moore not willing to trade, held on to Scott Barlow far too long. But so be it. Unmasked Tector says, Royals, LOL, they suck. Hey, that text sucks. It's baseball season. It's spring training. Teams are reporting.
This weather.
Give us a break, man.
Nebraska baseball practiced outside yesterday. It's very. I feel like it's very rare. Usually they'll get an outdoor practice a couple weeks into the season, but before the season begins, before you head to Scottsdale, you have multiple practices outside that. And Haymarket Park, I saw pictures. It looked good. It looked really good for a early February date. Usually there's like a foot of snow in the ground or whatever.
Right. I do want to talk about the bullpen here real quick too, though, Nick. Carlos Estevez, peripheral numbers, a little shaky. Had all the saves, all-star caliber year for him last year. Curious to see if he can keep up those results. Lucas Urseg, is he back? Maybe hampered by an injury at times last year. Matt Strom, again, some of the underlying numbers leave you saying, okay, he'll still be good, but just how good can he be? You still have John Schreiber. You add Nick Mears there in the middle. Lewinder Avila, what is he, if anything, is a flame-throwing arm? Is Daniel Lynch, good enough as your lefty specialist with Angel Zerpa out the door? And I see Jake Sorensen sprinting up here at the mention of Angel Zerpa, who he fired into the sun a long time ago. Bailey Falter is still on the roster. Here's the interesting name, though. Alec Marsh. That's a guy that was really good 2 years ago, and then last year had a weird injury or series of injuries to start the year. Never pitched. That was a flame-throwing arm that they had some moments as a starter, could certainly scale up in relief. I think that's another option down the line for the Royals to monitor the health of, because I think there's a role for a guy that throws as hard as he does with 4 potential pitches.
Exactly. There's a lot of depth there. A lot of names you name there. Matt Strom's back.
Returner, baby.
Back. If you didn't know, he's back after he was Royals acquired him in a trade years ago, leaves free agency, kind of plays on some playoff teams, and now he's back. That's another guy you can add. Carlos Estevez, I think, was an awesome get, because you really didn't know. It seemed like Lucas Urseg was made a closer a couple of years ago. You would have thought that after how the playoffs went. That role gets taken. Carlos Estevez steps in, and he was an all-star.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think the pitching is the least of the concerns right now, which has kind of been kind of the opposite of what the last couple of years.
So let's talk about the offense. Let's start on the dirt. Catcher, and then around the infield. Any players stand out to you on the dirt?
I got a couple here. So like Carter Jensen, what is he? Is he big league ready? Because he's gonna obviously
was at the end of last year.
Exactly, but that's just a very small sample size. We're talking, August, September, or whatever, not a full-fledged season. So he's gonna be the big question mark. Because if he's big league ready, adds another layer, because he could just do all that. Along with that, I think Jack Caglione, will he be able to elevate?
But is he on the dirt?
No, he's not. I'm just mentioning guys off we're going off the bullet point list that I kind of mentioned.
All right.
Jonathan India, if we want to go off the dirt, Jonathan India, they get him from a trade, Brady Singer trade, and it wasn't all that we really expected from what he had with Cincinnati. He just needs to kind of improve after year one and kind of settle in and be able to get that. He got a haircut. I saw that.
Yeah.
Very, very. They showed up at the Royals fan fest or whatever, and he had a haircut, and I was like, is that Jonathan India? Like, I didn't really recognize him. But yeah, him bouncing back. Michael Massey, where does he fit into the equation here at this team? Because there's so many different spots you can put guys. We'll find out a lot here in the next month at spring training with the spring training games. Those are some of those guys in the dirt, I would say. But outside of that, Jack Caglione, where does he fit in with the outfield situation? Those are my quick hits with the Royals fielding and outfield.
Dirty Tony and the boys does chime in on the Angel Zerpa front. Really wish he could have figured it out. Had the filthiest pitches, but could never find the strike zone. Funny enough, his strikeout to walk ratio was really good a couple years ago, and he was a pretty high leverage guy for the Royals. Did drop down a little bit, was about 2.5 to 1 each of the last couple of years. 58 strikeouts and 49 strikeouts the last couple of years, with 22 and 19 walks allowed in each of those years. The problem, I think, with Zerpa was he either had it or he didn't, right? It was the inconsistency. Sometimes he was blowing 97 past guys at the knees with a filthy slider. Other times it was 95 down the heart of the plate, and those 2 miles an hour in the location obviously make it easier for big league hitters to catch up to. Only allowed about a home run every 9 innings that he pitched with the Royals, about a hit an inning as well. So he was never terrible. He was always right around league average, but it was boom or bust, right? He was kind of the Brady Singer of relievers, right? Whereas Michael Wacha is like the traditional number 3. Like, what you're going to get every time out. You're going to get between 5 and 7 innings. You're going to get between, 1 and 4 runs allowed. You're going to strike out, 4 to 6 batters. That's a kind of a traditional guy there, right? Middle reliever, you just think, okay, yeah, he'll be fine. But Zerpa sometimes looked like a closer. Other times looked like he should have been in single A. Kind of like Brady Singer, right? You put that guy at Target Field, he's not getting anyone out. You put that guy in Kauffman Stadium, there are days that he looks like he should win a Cy Young.
I think a lot of people think of Angel Zerpa. You think of the playoff game against the Yankees where he was just walking everybody. I think that's the one that kind of is fresh in not only my mind, your mind, and every other Royals fans' mind. That's
well,
the one.
Let's flash back to Baltimore though, when they brought him in with the bases loaded and he worked him out of it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's a coin flip basically to get there. You don't know which Angel Zerpa you're going to get. Are you willing to risk that? That's the real question.
Well, and the Brewers are turning him into a starter.
That's interesting how
that Milwaukee.
Sometimes that worked out for some guys. Sometimes
like Seth Lugo.
Sometimes it doesn't. It's another coin flip. You don't know. You don't know until you try it, and sometimes it pans out, like you said, Seth Lugo. Sometimes it kind of comes back to bite you, and then you have to kind of pivot.
Royals certainly pivoting at second base, right? They went into last year trying to platoon India and Massey, give them both a chance in left field as well. Second base is really the one position on the infield the Royals don't have things figured out. Curious to see if there's more of a leap in Vinny Pasquantino with the fences being brought in. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be Bobby Witt Jr. Michael Garcia, I think his breakout is legit. Maybe he just had the best year of his career, but I think you're relatively confident in what you're getting from him. Is Massey on the dirt or is he in the outfield? Is India over whatever mental blocks that he had going to a bigger ballpark, right? From the hitter's paradise that was Great American Ballpark in Cincy to the K, he admitted kind of messed with him. And then, is there room on the roster for a guy like an Abraham Toro as a veteran or a Kevin Newman who's a veteran? Probably not, because I think that infield is just so good, which is where we turn our attention then to the outfield.
Yep.
You think Kyle Isbell is going to get the start in center for the Royals. Is he still good as he approaches 30, right? Legs fall off pretty quick for center fielders. And Kyle Isbell was really good last year because the Royals were able to platoon him, which is where a guy like Lane Thomas comes in. What does the bounce back look like for him? And then the corners, the guy that I'm probably most intrigued by in terms of the new additions is Isaac Collins. Fourth in the Rookie of the Year, switch hitting, kind of Andrew Benintendi-esque, enough pop, but not necessarily known for it. Is going to work the count, get on base, draw his walks. That's where I think, Nick, if India goes back to being the 360 on base guy, or Isaac Collins can draw a walk and provide a tough at bat at the top of the lineup ahead of Bobby Witt Jr., the Royals at least have a couple options to put in front of their franchise superstar. Either one of those two guys locking down the leadoff spot for 120 games this year goes a long way for this Royals.
So Isaac Collins was the last guy on my list.
There we go.
Because you get him, obviously at his time with the Brewers, he had a pretty solid season, fourth in Rookie of the Year voting.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, let's see what we got, and is he going to lead off? That's the big question. Switch hitter, that helps a lot. And put him, if he can get on base, and Bobby Witt Jr.'s up next, and the rest of them keep the line moving was the cliche in 2015.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If they can kind of capture a little bit of that, and you have a guy who can get on base and leadoff spot, they'll take it. They'll take it every single time. And if you can play him, like you said, 120 plus games, and he's can be out there and field the ball. Kyle Isbell, another one, like he plays exceptional defense, but like you said, he's getting up there. You never really know how it's going to go. Jack Caglione's the last guy I think we touch on, just because Fence is moving in. Can he elevate the ball? Because there's so much hype around this guy. He was in Omaha for a quick cup of coffee, literally. I mean, it felt like a blink and you missed him.
Almost played as many games in Utah as he did in Omaha.
You have to blink. He moved up the system so quickly. He did play several years at Florida. Nebraska fans remember him at Florida from a regional, obviously. And he just moved up so quickly. I just would hope that it's not a situation where, we rush this guy so quickly that, it comes back to bite them in development wise. So he's those are the two wild cards in the outfield, because you just got to hope that things fall into place and things just kind of start to click.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest X factor for the Royals, I would say, alongside Carter Jensen offensively, right? Because, if Carter Jensen's good enough to give Salvador Perez days off, Salvi's just always been so good after a little bit of time to rest, that Carter Jensen being good goes a long way. Jack Caglione, though, swung the bat 77.4 miles per hour on average last year, which was like 98th percentile in baseball, or 90th plus percentile if he had enough at bats to qualify. Had a pretty good barrel percentage, kind of middle of the road average exit velo. His expected numbers better than his actual numbers. He ends the year hitting just 157 with a 237 on base and a 295 slug. Thing is that Jack Caglione didn't really swing and miss that much, especially for a guy like him at 6'5", 250. You'd expect there to be a lot of swing and miss. But here's the thing, Nick. I might take a little bit more swing and miss from Jack Caglione as opposed to what you said, the poor contact from him when he's topping the ball, or he's, swinging maybe too much, right? At pitches that he can get the bat to, but how much damage is he able to do on them, right? His walk percentage maybe a little low, but not atrocious for a rookie. His strikeout percentage, 22.4% for a guy with his power, right in line. You can live with that. It creeps up to 27, 28%. You don't love it. But if he's 25% or below, that's going to go a long way, because Jack Haglione locking down right field ties a lot together. Isaac Collins being able to play left consistently ties a lot together, with maybe a spot start for Michael Massey out there here and there. The outfield for the Royals has been among the worst in baseball offensively for going on a decade now, really since the World Series run. The last 5 years, it's been especially atrocious. But man, you credit the Royals for at least trying to bring in some new options in those positions.
And you have a guy like Lane Thomas, a veteran guy. Maybe he captures something. He's played a couple of years on a couple of big game teams. We sit here February 10th. I think it's crazy. You look at the schedule. First spring training game is in 10 days.
Yeah.
10 days.
And
surprise, Arizona playing the Texas Rangers. You look at that first day report, and you have less than 2 weeks to gear up for an exhibition game where you see, a handful of starters, handful of young prospects get some action, who get invites to spring training. It's exciting, and it's almost that time of year. Baseball's almost back.
Royals invite 67 players. They can only keep 40 on the 40-man. We'll certainly keep you posted as we are, again, Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. More baseball news wrapping up this hour of the show after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Graham Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies, and it will be breezy. In the afternoon, high around 51. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, a low around 27. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds, and an afternoon high near 52. I'm meteorologist Kyle Butler for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins'. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Let Sartor Heyman Jewelers help you be a hero this Valentine's Day. We have great gifts in store now, and if you spend $129, we'll throw in a free bouquet of roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905. In Lincoln and Grand Island and online at sartorheyman.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One final segment here for the first hour of Old School. Austin Oerman and Nick Wyman with you. Big thanks to Heartland of Nebraska Windows for sponsoring hour one of the show. Don't forget, they got all sorts of great stuff going on. You can visit them online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com, or give them a call for more info, 402-430-3852. The Detroit Tigers, right before spring training starts, announced they've signed Justin Verlander, a guy who obviously made a name for himself pitching for Detroit from when he debuted at 22 in 2005 all the way through 2017 when he was traded to Houston. And now entering his age 43 season, Nick, he makes a return to the city he began his career in. I really think there are, three options here. Number one, retirement tour move. Okay, bring him back home. He's still got enough gas in the tank to warrant a roster spot. Number two, it's a baseball move. The Tigers don't trust their rotation. Or number three, it's a PR move. Given the way last season ended and everything that's gone on with Tarek Skubal since then, I don't know, man. I don't buy the rationale for this one. I don't think this is a baseball move. I think this is a PR move.
There's not much room in the rotation to begin with to say, hey, sorry, we're going to turn to a 43-year-old guy who pitched here and made a name for himself here.
To that point, last year's rotation of Skubal, Flaherty, Mize, Montero, and Olsen is all still on the roster. You also still have a top pitching prospect, Jackson Jobe, who contributed about a half a win above replacement on the roster from last year. So really the only guy you're trying to replace there is Charlie Morton, who was really bad and a couple years younger than Justin Verlander. So you're going to force him into the rotation?
I think he'd have to be like a bullpen guy, which is kind of weird. It'd be very weird to see him kind of in
middle relief.
In middle relief in a Detroit Tigers uniform, as growing up seeing him play for the Tigers, obviously he had that's where he made a name for himself, was a Cy Young winner, was able to kind of prove himself. And he kind of already did this. He was with the Mets and then got traded to Houston or the Astros, where he was at before and had success there. And that was kind of what it was. And now he's going to Detroit. Like you said, maybe it's a way to sell a couple more tickets. I mean, you see, and that could be like your point 1 and 3 could be linked, PR move / retirement tour. You see, let's say end of the year, his final start comes, that on like a Saturday before the season ends, game 161.
Or they throw him out in that start. He hadn't made a start all year, just a spot start sort of guy. Here's a bone. Here's one.
We're already locked in the playoffs or out of the playoffs or whatever.
Out.
Exactly. You never know. Hey, we got Justin Verlander a day, and he's going to come out and make his final career start or whatever, and you put him out there, and regardless of what happens, if you're locked in the playoffs or out of the playoffs or whatever, you can plug him in there and sell a couple more tickets and see the Justin Verlander send off in real time.
Verlander, a 385 fielding, independent pitching, a 103 ERA plus last year. Both improvements from a 478 FIP and a 74 ERA plus, which would be 26% below league average. Probably not much left in the tank. Feels like one last go round for soon-to-be 43-year-old Justin Verlander. For Nick Wyman, I'm Austin Oerman. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on Old School, brought to you as always by the good folks at Graham Tire Company. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. More next on The Ticket.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Oerman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we go, hour 2 of Old School, chatting Super Bowl 60 all the way through. Austin Oerman and Jay Foreman with you. Brought to you as always by Graham Tire. They've been proudly serving the Midwest for 75 years. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. 402-464-5685. We want your thoughts on the Super Bowl. A controlled victory for the Seattle Seahawks. Jay will break this up into 2 parts, focusing on Seattle, the victors here in this first segment. Seattle now 2 for 4 in Super Bowl appearances. Won it back in 2013, and now this Super Bowl played just last night. First thing I think that's going to stand out, Jay, is that Seattle defense, with Mike McDonald becoming the first primary defensive play caller to win a Super Bowl as a head coach, and 78 total yards for the Patriots through 3 quarters. 6 sacks, could have had 7 if not for that fumble that turned into an interception. New England had no answers because Seattle kept rewriting the test on them.
Yeah, I mean, it was if you're a defensive coach, and I don't even like saying defensive coach, I think you're a good coach, and obviously especially his defense, and he's fine with playing really good defense and beating you 40-0. But if you're a defensive minded head coach and how they've been able to play, this game couldn't have went any better. Any better than you could plan. And so they led with their defense. They are everything that they are been made up to be. But it's not just the defense. Mm-hmm. It's the special teams. They spent the most money, I think, this year on their specialists. It showed
$9 million.
Right. So they have that. So that's essentially doubling down on. That's an extra bonus to your offense and defense. Mm-hmm. And then offensively, sure, Sam Darnold was 50%, but it was more than really efficient. And you're going against a really good pass defense or potential pass defense as with the New England Patriots. But he kept them on time and on target. And then right from the get-go, Kenneth Walker III was able to get busy. And, and he kept it up all game. He was able to do some things, a couple big catches out of the backfield. He had a long 20-yard one. That's an explosive play out of a player that you don't. So it's all the bonus things that he was able to do. Our boy A.J. Barner got a touchdown. Which
how about Albert Javante?
Albert Javante did his thing. Everybody contributed. The guys that were supposed to be your productive guys and your superstars, like Devin Witherspoon, he's the problem because he's the number 1 lockdown corner, but he kills you in the slot, hits like a linebacker. He had a sack. He had obviously a couple tackles for loss, a couple pass defense. So that's there. Ernest Jones, who was a all-pro, double-digit tackle for loss. And then you had Derek Hall, which I think is emergence. He's like Milton Williams was last year for the Eagles. A really good year, maybe overshadowed by some really high-profile players. Mm-hmm. And there's not a better chance to have a coming-out party than in the Super Bowl. And then obviously Byron Murphy, who's a big-time draft pick. He was dominant up the middle. And then you have DeMarcus Lawrence, and then, then you got Leonard Williams. So when you look at this team, there's no weaknesses. They can lock you down with Witherspoon and Wooten or
Woolen, yeah.
And then they got great safety play, obviously. With my man Nick, I would just call him Nick E. It was probably, when I'm thinking about that hybrid safety, he's a younger, bigger version than Jalen Ramsey is now with that's because that's how Pittsburgh kind of plays him.
Yeah.
Remember when it was like Marlon Humphrey when he was doing it in
Baltimore,
and they got number 14,
Kyle Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. So he's probably that new age. He's probably faster than Kyle Hamilton. He can actually cover in the slot. So he's a problem. I mean, he erases a lot of things. So it was complete dominance. It wasn't an aesthetically pleasing game. Started out kind of like as a, I wouldn't say a dud, but very slow pace. It was kind of like when the Patriots beat the Rams. And then it got obviously more explosive towards the end of the game.
It did. 3 former Jets win a Super Bowl, right? Sam Darnold, obviously among them, Leonard Williams, and then Jason Myers.
Right.
Who ends up with 17 points, I think, on the day, if my math is correct. Big day for him. There's some intrigue at the end. Would you give the Super Bowl MVP to a kicker or to Kenneth Williams? Jay, do you want to go back to Devin Witherspoon here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 pick in the draft out of Illinois. Nebraska saw him up close and personal. But the reason I brought up the, Seattle changed the test on the Patriots is Mike McDonald brought back something he hadn't done in a month. Not since week 12 had Devin Witherspoon been sent on a blitz. Yeah. Seattle deployed him, in the slot at some points, outside a little bit. Then they snuck him up on the line of scrimmage. He was so good as a blitzer, caused some havoc. New England didn't have any answer for him at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, New England struggled, obviously, to protect the passer just with the 4-man rush.
He was pressured 48% of the time, Drake May was, when the Seahawks only sent 4.
Right, and so that's a problem there. So from an offensive line coach and a coordinator standpoint, you're really, really passive. And then Devin Witherspoon, who can play on the line of scrimmage, and he had 3 quarterback hits, and he can hit, though. Mm-hmm. He will hit you.
Oh,
and he's had some big hits. He had huge hits at Illinois. He had huge hits in the pros. And it's really a cool story that he brought up back a defense from a month ago. But there has to be some continuity from what he saw with that team a month ago that he used it against in the Patriots. But also, I think the really good thing is he leaned on his players, his gamers.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they felt comfortable with, I guess, their number 3 corner and their number 2 corner on the outside.
Yeah.
Because if you had, Jamar Chase and, T. Higgins out there.
You're not leaving me on that island. You're
leaving Witherspoon outside. So really, styles make fights, circumstances make them perfect. And that's what, happened here. And, it paid off like gangbusters. And, for him and Mike McDonald, I mean, he's got to be proud because he's the main play caller. He manifested this and the defense led the way. And, for whether it's him or anybody else, winning the Super Bowl is obviously a tremendous achievement. And they seem to get better, though. Remember in the last week of the season, they were playing for the number 1 seed. And the 2 times they played the Rams, it was a 1-point game. And then they looked different. And then they had the bye. And then usually you're like, oh, Seattle's right for the picking, right? For upset. And they just whatever it was, they found their rhythm and they became dominant. The offensive line, the tight end blocking, and that's what really I think makes it go. Their offensive line is good, very good. Both of their tight ends are excellent, in line and out in space blockers, and they are physical as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're explosive enough, and because JSN got tweaked up a little bit, and it's really good to have your backup is Cooper Kupp.
Right.
Probably a Hall of Fame guy, if he gets another couple big years.
He might be already though.
I want to solidify. I'm talking about and really, to be honest,
he's got a case now.
Yeah, he's got a really good case now. Let's get it excellent. Even with his excellent case, he'll probably, as we've seen, he'll get in way too late just because of the law.
Because Reggie Wayne gets in first.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that need to get in. But with Cooper Kupp, where he's reliable, he's been here before. And with Jackson Smith being a little bit banged up, and you knew that they were going to.
And Gonzalez was all over him. He was good.
You were going to roll the coverages to him, and that's actually a testament to JSN is that he knew that his role was going to be a little bit less because he's going to see a mix of coverages, and then Cooper Kupp was able to bring it home. You got to think Cooper Kupp was trying to, or the Rams were trying to encourage him to retire, like you're done,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they kind of put out like fake like medical reports and all that. I mean, that's dirty business right there. This is a guy that was like legendary for Sean McVay.
Oh yeah, I mean, behind Aaron Donald, it was Cooper Kupp.
Cooper
like
Kupp.
you got Stafford, but it was Cooper
Kupp, and he was dominating.
Mm-hmm.
A great blocker as well,
Mm-hmm.
and a really good trusty hands, great leader. And so they leaned on him, and that's where, it's not, as far as the defense going good, but then, for Mike McDonald to understand, okay, this is a game that we can trust Cooper Kupp, and this is a guy that you can target. I do feel like Sam Darnold was a little off, but I think the coverage was so tight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a testament to the Patriots. They were really making it hard for him.
And we'll get to the Patriots aspect of it, but with Sam Darnold, Jay, listened by Kenny Wilhite at Wings and Rings a little bit. He mentioned just how aggressive the Pats were being early on. That to me felt like their chance. Darnold was zipping it in there, right into some tight windows. Some of them felt incomplete, obviously, but he avoided the backbreaking turnover that New England, I think, was clearly gunning for early in that game to try and play with the lead. He avoided that. Did miss Smith and Jigba a couple times, once for a big play, maybe right before half.
The one that was kind of like he did an option or
on the scramble.
He broke it off, and that would have
scored.
Yeah, blew the game wide open.
An associate of ours was really rooting for Jackson Smith and Jigba touchdown.
Nick?
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, maybe could have had one there at the end of the first half. Darnold maybe left it a little late and a little too far inside instead of throwing Smith and Jigba open a little bit over the middle. And then the deep bomb missed to Shaheed.
Yeah.
Missed him by about
just like
a yard.
2 yards. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was right there. They were close. You credit New England for some of that. But Jay, when you think about Sam Darnold, the journey that he's been on from seeing ghosts to, looking at the Lombardi Trophy now, I mean, what a journey for that guy, the way he bounced around the league. And I think it's obviously a great story for Sam Darnold. He's played some better football, but I think that's a dangerous proposition that we have Sam Darnold Super Bowl champion for a bunch of other organizations, because for how long now in the NFL has the discourse been dominated by you need a dominant quarterback to win? Sam Darnold was really good at times, right? He helped carry that offense early in the season when Walker and Charbonnet couldn't quite get on track. But by the end of the season, it was just avoid the big mistake, which he did. And I think there's a bunch of people rooting for Sam Darnold who kept his nose to the grindstone and kept working hard. But a bunch of GMs are panicking. Oh, crap. My quarterback excuse is out the window. If John Schneider can build a good roster and a good defense and get the right head coach and win with as bad as that guy looked early in his career, I got to get my acting gear.
Yeah, I also think that, the Jets actually drafted the best quarterback, but they didn't have the best support system. So what you're seeing from Sam Darnold
at the time, certainly. I mean, Josh Allen has clearly surpassed Darnold from that class. Even
but
Lamar
I'm talking
has
about
as well.
at that time, he was the most ready.
Yeah.
And he had some success. And I think everybody hangs on the thing when you're mic'd up and you're seeing ghosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not the only person that kind of alluded to, like, I'm seeing 3 guys out there, and I don't know. I'm and
don't know which one's real.
Right. And then I've done that, where, I didn't play a game up to my standard, and I felt like I was seeing something. Then when you watch the tape, I was like, I didn't say it, but I was like, dang, you were actually seeing something that wasn't real.
There. Yeah.
And, when you go to an organization like the Jets, and there's nothing against, it's nothing against the Jets, but the reality is this: they're not a very well respected and well run organizations. You're not going there with all the ducks in the row.
Right.
So you're coming there as a young man, a young quarterback,
all the way across the country,
all the way across the country, in a huge market, a vicious market, and then you're trying to fix things that have been in the foundation for decades.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it, the GM that drafted him was fired the next year. So now the new GM wants his quarter. So now you already got a target on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Now and then
with all the head coaching turnover and OC turnover,
and then you're into essentially the mini vortex of potentially going to be a bust. You know what I mean? Because what happens is I saw it with David Carr. You get there, you don't have the support. You kind of get some, not even bad habits. You just don't know what it's like to actually play with, a legitimate offensive line, a number 1 receiver, a running back. And then you're taking those things, and those are your most formidable years as a professional athlete, especially as a quarterback. And then anywhere you go now you're fighting all the assumptions and all that stuff that's coming with you, and is mostly negative, to other places. You are literally out trying to outrun like a cheetah in a race. and he's lucky enough to do it, and it's commendable for him. I mean, he's obviously had some talent to where he was able to go other places, and then obviously he went to Carolina, and obviously that was a little shaky. The best thing I said before was he was able to go to San Francisco. It's almost like when you go to San Francisco, and we'll see what happens with Mac Jones. It's like when fired head coaches go with Nick Saban. It's literally you're going to be in a winning environment. You have a really good quarterback coach in Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, Purdy's the starter, but you're going to be it's like image rehab.
Yeah.
Right? And you get to see what it's like to win, right? And be coached to win. Then he goes to Minnesota, has a great year. And obviously, I think everybody and it's like, and that's the last two games is essentially an example how everybody wanted to view his career based on when he was with the Jets. He didn't play well the last two games, but if you look at it, the offensive line was beat up, no running game, and they just didn't play well offensively. He had played well for 14. He won 14 games.
Yeah.
Lost at Detroit, and then lost in a neutral site game because of the fires in California against the Rams defense, as we've seen this year. That is 100% for real. That can get to the quarterback. Well, then Seattle was like, man, I like this. You know what? We had Geno Smith, man. You're an upgrade. And the best thing also for him, Austin, is being up in Seattle, because you don't want to know why? He fits Seattle. He's a low-key guy. All he wants to do is play football, extremely motivated. His teammates love him. You know what I mean? So he has that quiet leadership. You're up there. So anything, like, you're not getting a ton of media. You know, people aren't flying up there to try to get a hit piece on you.
Right.
It's hard to get. It's too far.
SeaTac is not my favorite airport.
And you get and you get to play your games times and your are like, so if you have a bad game up there, it's like
everyone's already on a Sunday night football.
On a Sunday night football. Yeah. And so he's very, very protected. They protect him. I mean, you got to be happy for a dude like that, man. I mean, he's not your typical California USC quarterback.
Right.
He came up from very humble beginnings, a very close relationship with his parents, very driven. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better example of, what do you want out of a quarterback that's kind of been through the highs and lows, and obviously, not that he's owed anything, but to be able to, outlast the assumptions. Now the narrative for him has drastically changed. Now he can play and compete on an even slate.
Yeah.
Very rarely does that happen with quarterbacks.
Kind of like Nebraska once it wins its first NCAA tournament game, eh?
You won't hear about it anymore. You won't get the hit piece that if Nebraska loses, they're shouldn't, or they should be like an 8 or 9 seed, the one that we had, and all that stuff. Is Nebraska even good? Or since they haven't, they have to go to the grade 8 for it to be a successful
right.
year. There's going to be there's going to be a team ranked higher than Nebraska, and it might be one of these number 1 seeds in the tournament that doesn't make the grade 8. But a team that's never been there, never won a game, has to fight these type of
has to go above and beyond and beyond.
Right. And that's what he's able to do. Very rarely in the NFL you're able to do that at that position.
Yeah.
So he's probably obviously thankful and appreciative. And you know what the best thing for him is? He's going to keep on doing it, because the quarterbacks that come in the league can't play dead anyways. So
he's chilling.
Hey, from here on out, he can say, listen, people were picking up Trent Dilfer all the time. I'm better than Trent Dilfer. You talking about 20 years in the league, or Josh Johnson, 17 teams or something like that? Sam Darnold's going to play as long as he wants. And congrats to him, man.
26 USC quarterbacks drafted. Sam Darnold, the first to start a Super Bowl. Congratulations to him there. Some other interesting numbers. The Seahawks team, the best point differential of any team since conference realignment back in 2002. Number 4 team of all time since 1978. According to ESPN's DVOA number, which is pretty impressive. Kenneth Walker, 27 carries, 135 yards, 2 catches for 26. First running back to win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis did it for the Broncos. How about this, Jay? Kenneth Walker, the first Super Bowl MVP, not born in the 1900s.
Really?
Yeah.
He has an interest. He's the dude that I think he was on varsity at 8th grade.
Yeah. He was that dude.
Yeah, he's yoked up too. He's been yoked up. He's working out 3 times a day. Yeah.
No turnovers for the Seahawks in 4 games. First Super Bowl champion ever
to do that.
To go and do that. How about this then? Gray Zabel, rookie offensive lineman, 14th player to win a college football national title and a Super Bowl in back-to-back years, but the first time to ever do that when you're an FCS player.
Wow. Yeah. He's good too.
He's good.
He's real deal. But
and North Dakota State, Jay.
Oh, we got that in hour 5.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All the teasers.
Hey, what are they? They got beef up in North Dakota. The beef,
bison, cows,
and
beef,
oil
something.
up there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had to go tap into some investors to get over there.
We're doing this.
Yeah,
we're doing this.
Yeah, I mean I mean, if you forget being a defensive minded or defensive led team, right? Mm-hmm. But I think they play complementary football.
Yeah.
This isn't like where they were like they could be explosive, but when you talk about no turnovers,
0
for 4 games
against playoff caliber competition,
right? And not ideal. There's a rain. The Rams game was rainy. Mm-hmm. To be able to do that, I mean, that's just it's unheard of. But then it's a great run, and it lets you know how well balanced they are, and how tough of an out it would be. They are a buzzsaw.
Yeah,
it's rinse and repeat. I mean, that's a big, physical, fast team. Yeah. I mean, they are
across
big,
the board.
Across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. And they did it on the sneak, though. Schneider was under some heat after getting, with Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
But they did it on, whether it's A.J. Barner, whether it's Kenneth Walker III, whether it's JSN, whether it's Witherspoon. Yeah, they were big-time picks. But they weren't like ones that, like, they were running ESPN, like, man, this dude's going to Seattle, he's going to turn it over.
But you were thinking more about pushing Pete Carroll out the door because you could see he was at the end of his run. You would think more about the Russell Wilson trade.
Right.
That was a big deal. And DK Metcalf.
Right. That just happened.
Yeah. Just last offseason.
DK.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Jay, because John Schneider becomes the first general manager in NFL history to win 2 Super Bowls with a different head coach and no carryover players. Think about that.
Yeah.
From the Legion of Boom team in 2013 to this team, it's not like he won one early with Russell Wilson, right? Quarterback on a rookie deal. And then they carried him to one at the end of his career with the defense.
Yeah.
0 carryover players in 13 years is a, long, time in the NFL, right? Not a lot of careers last that long. So I get that aspect of it, but still to go that long between titles, you're still in charge, being allowed to make those moves. New coach, 2 completely different rosters. He's the only guy to ever do it. Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible because it's a brand new team. But when you have a brand new team, you're automatically like set up to fail because you got a lot of draft picks and all that, but you have to hit on some major moves. Offensive line was a hit.
Yeah,
you got to trade for Leonard Williams, which essentially is like a draft pick. Then you got to get Murphy. Then you got to say, okay, we got to have not only Kenneth Walker III, we got to get Charbonnet when he was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to, when are we going to turn the reins over to JSN?
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's a master class on how to build a team. And I think this next hiring cycle, if there's another GM, right, mm-hmm. somebody under Schneider or under that type of tutelage those guys are going to get plucked off big time. So.
And we already have some of that in the works for Seattle. Obviously, Clint Kubiak announced after the game he plans to take the coaching job for the Las Vegas Raiders. And then, Jay, 2 guys we've mentioned quite a bit, Devin Witherspoon and Jackson Smith-Njigba, both up for $30 million a year extensions.
Man.
Congrats on the Super Bowl.
One's probably going to get franchised, the other one's going to get paid.
Make your call. Make your pick. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'll do JSN.
Paying him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to franchise him, and then maybe, I don't know, then you got to do Witherspoon in a year.
Yeah. Give yourself some more time to figure it out. So, congratulations on the Super Bowl win, Seattle. It makes some tough choices.
Hey, you about to have a beautiful offseason. You going to be there mini camp? Nah.
See you when I see you.
Yep.
Deuces. We'll see you after this break to talk about the losers in the Super Bowl, the New England Patriots. He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Oerman. This is Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. Let's put numbers together. Let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get inspired at the 54th Annual Home and Garden Show, February 13th through the 15th at Sandhills Global Event Center in Lincoln. $10 admission. Let the experts bring your home projects to life. Learn more at hbal.org.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Talking more Super Bowl here on Old School. Austin Oerman and Jay Foreman with you. 402-464-5685. Jay, we talked about the winners, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
We gave you a long flight home one time, or so you've chronicled.
A couple times.
Couple times.
That's well. You know what? You want to know a funny thing about Seattle? That's where I got my first. Well, actually, that was my first. Well, Seattle's actually a special place to me.
Okay.
Well, somewhat.
Where a boy became a man?
No, I don't know about that. But, well, here, it's funny. Then we'll get into New England. So when I was a rookie and we were in training camp, so my mentor was this guy named Sam Coward.
Mm-hmm.
He was a stud. Sam had a really good offseason and was a little bit overweight. So they weren't.
The offseason was nice to say.
So they were fining him, and then they weren't letting him practice and stuff. Well, he didn't care. They weren't going to cut him. He was like all rookie and second team all pro, or he was really good.
Sam Coward.
Yeah. What are you going to do to him? You just gave him like $1 million back then to sign because he was a second round pick. So I'm thinking, because he practiced a couple times and then we had to go play out at Seattle, and this is my rookie year. So I'm like, all right, he's going to play. Well, then they decided to hold him out the preseason game, and they didn't tell me until like as we got to the stadium. And I remember my locker was next to my man Ted Washington, Mount Washington,
yeah,
and he was going to play. It's good on good. Ricky Waters was the running back and all that. I mean, it was the real deal. Joey Galloway was received. The real deals are out there. Ted Washington comes over to me, and he used to call me Sweetie Rabbit because of my feet.
Oh.
He used to make fun of me the whole time I was there. He's like Sweetie Rabbit. He's like, you scared? And I mean, hey, you talking about like puckered up? I was like, nah. He's like, yeah, right. He's like.
Yeah, right.
He's like, yeah, right. He's like, I know you scared as hell. He's like, because I was scared before my first start. That's number one. And then so that was the preseason. We come back and play them regular season. This is when I knew I was going to be active, like in the game and playing special teams. It was Rayon Hill,
Dookie Ray.
Yep. It was actually Fab Five Freddy, me, Rayon Hill, and Antoine Winfield. That was like our kickoff team. And I'll never forget, it was the first play of the game. And Bruce DeHaven used to always make the rookies hit the wedge.
Oh,
that's when they had the real wedge.
Mm-hmm.
They had 4 guys there. You got to go. 2 guys got to blow it up. So we're about to, we get in our takeoff, and the ball comes off the tee. And your boy was hauling. Because, we play on it was real, like, slick AstroTurf. It was real AstroTurf back then.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the mall in Buffalo and went and got like some cross training shoes and then just spatted my shoes. I wanted my stuff light.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No pads, no nothing.
Nope.
And I was rolling. I had the head, I had my head kicked back, and then we had to go back to the kickoff or whatever. Antoine was like, yeah, I like that, Foreman. I like that. He's like, I like that sense of urgency, right? Antoine is like the safety. He know he ain't going to hit nobody. He ain't nothing but like 5'9". So we going down there again. And I knew it was going to be a wedge to our side, so a right return. And so it's me and Rayon going to hit this bad boy because they doubling Fred.
Okay.
So we hitting. So we're going, and you can see him out his peripheral. I'm running, and then once you see the wedge coming, there is no
going back.
There is no
You're
going.
there.
Yeah, it's like we're going into contact. So I'm getting, and then you kind of like angle in there, and then out of my peripheral, Ray hit the turf monster, gets it.
Oh no. So you're 4-on-1.
Yo.
You're 4-on-1.
Imagine, Austin, I'm hitting the wedge right here.
Okay.
It was slow motion, like literally, that I saw number 38. If you Google Max Strong coming here to my ear hole, so it was 3 guys. When he hit me,
oh no,
I hit the wedge, but he hit me at the same time. I swear to God, it was like Rocky Balboa when he fell down. It was slow motion.
Yeah.
I was knocked out, came back, right? Like I was like, got up, because that's the first thing you want to do is get up and like not show any weakness, right?
Mhm.
And they made the tackle or whatever. Your boy was running to the right, to Seattle. I was going to the wrong. I thought I was going to the sideline. The ref grabbed me. Back then there was no concussion protocol, and he's like, "You're going the wrong sideline." It threw me the other way.
Do you know who the ref was?
No, but I didn't know
It's
where
a Guardian
I was.
Angels who it was.
The first NFL play, knocked out. Get to the sideline, it's like a badge of honor back then. Now you know why you got like throbbing headaches and pre-CTE. They gave you like some smelling salts. And they were like, Jay, do you know your name? Jay Foreman, do you know your name?
Right.
Yeah, Jay.
Giving you the answers to the test.
You know you're in Seattle. Do you know where you're at? Like, yeah. All right. Good.
Ready, break.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But.
And hey, you lasted 9 years after.
Now, on to the New England.
Sure, it broke your heart to see the Patriots flail.
I did not. But I wouldn't have minded seeing Mike Vrabel win.
Linebacker to linebacker.
I like it. I just like him as a coach. I like him as a coach. I think he's hard on him, but he's fair. And I think the things that when you see behind the scenes, I think he's a really good coach. I thought he was a great coach at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, New England had some holes in their game that kind of wasn't exposed to the maximum because of the dynamics of that game against the Broncos. Obviously, Bo Nix being out and so forth and so on. And they weren't able to get the conventional run game going because when you look at Stevenson and Henderson, just barely 3 yards to carry. The longest run they got was 9, and they weren't able to stick with it. And then they had to try to pass, and then they did a really good job of locking down Stephon Diggs, who, in my opinion, is their only like X factor that can really be, a volume receiver, and then obviously, take it to top off somewhat or make 50-50 catches.
Hollins had a drive. Tight
Right.
ends didn't do much. Boutte had the one catch.
He had that drive, but you're okay to do. He's their fourth receiver. Congratulations, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And so they just made them play with one arm behind their back in a full-fledged fight. And even though their defense, played well, for the Patriots, they're, well enough, it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when you look at it, for the Patriots, this is a tell-all sign right here. So their top 3 leading tacklers in Woodson, Jones, and Davis III had 23 tackles.
Woo!
Right? Guess what position they played?
DB, DB, and DB.
So that lets you know the guys inside were neutralized.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference in the game. That's the difference in Kenneth Walker III at 100 or the game MVP in
135 on
135 yards. That's the big difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
They made their DBs be tacklers, and then that controlled the game. So if I'm New England, that's what I'm looking at. And then obviously, in the upgrade in the skill position as far as being able to be explosive got exposed.
Yeah.
You weren't able to get Hunter Henry off. Your screen game wasn't working. And so, it's a process for them. And it'll be interesting to see what Josh McDaniels does next year with Drake May, where Drake May is improved, but what do they do offensively to improve? Because they have a lot of the ingredients that Seattle has. Really good defense, strong-minded, defensive-minded head coach, really good special teams, even though Seattle outplayed their special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Young and upcoming quarterback, even though Darnold's a little bit older. More than capable of running back room,
Mhm.
double and 2-headed monster. Decent enough tight ends, right? I think that you can kind of bring those back. You need the receiver help, either it's via trade or through the draft. And where this team is right now, this is what I'm predicting. I think it might have lessened now since the Philadelphia Eagles got a new offensive coordinator, but it's still going to be on the table. A.J. Brown to New England. Why?
Because they need him.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Loves A.J. Brown.
Mm.
That trade was not all on Mike Vrabel. That was the downfall of Mike Vrabel. You essentially took your X factor.
Yeah. The guy Tannehill needed.
With Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And you just took all their superpower.
Handicapped yourself.
There you go. If you're A.J. Brown.
Thanks. I hate it.
If you're A.J. Brown, that's where I want to go. You trust the head coach.
Yeah.
You trust the process. You'll get a volume of receivers. You're a really good cold weather receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get home field advantage with your skill set, and this, if they bring back Stephon Diggs, you actually get more out of Stephon Diggs. Because he's more of a 2 receiver now.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Vrabel did a heck of a job with him.
Yeah.
And if you get rid of Stephon Diggs, you can draft or elevate somebody else. That's the only guy I would trust there.
I hate that it makes sense. Please don't happen. I'm not here for it. Now, it would make the AFC East, continue to be entertaining. But that's just the thing, Jay.
That'd be domination. Do you see Buffalo?
I still think Buffalo's got the best quarterback in the division.
They do. Do you see that defense?
What defense?
Exactly.
Yeah. No one's happy to see New England back if you're an AFC East fan.
The schedule's different next year.
First place.
The mindset that you're gonna get everybody's best shot from here on out.
Oh crap! Patriots are back. Got to be back on our game.
Well, the runner-up in the Super Bowl. So this is it. And so it's going to be a different dynamic for that team. And they have a full year to kind of evaluate Drake May, what he does and doesn't do well, and how to stop this, obviously the running game and passing game.
The Patriots fell, Jay, in the big way where most of the blowout Super Bowls have happened, losing the math. Right? If you can't block 4 guys with 6 responsible for him, sometimes 7 to 5 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and a running back, it's never going to work out in your favor. Will Campbell, their high pick with the offensive line with the short arms, right? Maybe that was a factor, but he was bad. Credited with 14 pressures allowed yesterday. Drake May had the 3rd worst quarterback run statistically of any quarterback in a Super Bowl run since the 2000s. Nothing went right, but here's the thing. I think that you can take this one of 2 ways. New England's young. All they can do is get better with an offseason to self-scout and improve. But the flip side of that, Jay, is how many times have we seen failures to launch? How many guys only make it to 1 Super Bowl, right? I think you trust Vrabel. You like what May gave you if you're a Patriots fan, but you're still playing in the AFC, right? Yeah, Mahomes is injured. Yeah, Buffalo doesn't have a defense. Yeah, Lamar has a new head coach as well. But there's just so many threats in the AFC to make the playoffs any given year that, the list of guys that only made 1 Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1 Super Bowl in this era. Drew Brees only made 1. Dan Marino only made 1. Down the list, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, guys were at the peak of their powers, only made 1 Super Bowl. So I think on the surface, you like the direction that New England's headed. But, man, you can't bank on being back and getting another shot at it.
Yeah, how many teams that you think, they're going to go on a run? Say you go and either win or lose the Super Bowl close, and they don't ever get back.
Well, like you've said, it's hard to be the Super Bowl loser and make it back.
How many times has me as a former player of Buffalo been on pins and needles? Is this the year we're going to beat Kansas City?
Yeah.
And the 1 year Kansas City isn't around.
Neither is Buffalo.
Neither is Buffalo.
And Baltimore, for that matter.
Yeah, right. Same thing. The window, winning the Super Bowl is as much about skill, players, as is luck.
Yeah, luck, timing,
and everything. And so, for New England, they'll always be in the hunt. They'll always be competitive because I think they have continuity from ownership, GM, decision makers, head coach, players, culture, all that. So they're always going to be a factor. That's why New England is dangerous.
Yeah.
Much like Seattle being up there in the Pacific Northwest, New England in Foxborough, where they're at, is off the beaten path as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're away from the big city. You're outside of Boston. So all the like the vinegar, as far as the negative attention,
goes to the Red Sox.
Goes up. Everything else beside you, and because you're up there, I think they're dangerous. And also a chink in the armor for Buffalo that you just got rid of your coach that had some of the similar qualities as Mike Vrabel to match it. Now, I think Brady would do well, but it bodes well for the Patriots moving forward. And if this is the Mr. T starter kit that maybe go on a 5 to 7 run of constantly being in the mix, you have to think Vrabel with New England and emerging quarterback, you like your chances to get over the hump.
We'll talk a little bit more about this game. ESPN has its way too early NFL power rankings. You know who 1 and 2 are. It's the Seahawks at 1 and the Patriots at 2. Let's talk about the rest of the teams, or some of the teams in order, when we get back to wrap up hour 2.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Hey, Nebraska, this is your moment. Love Nebraska is already making noise on the court, but they're still missing one thing, a nickname. That's where you come in. Love Nebraska is giving fans the chance to submit the team's official nickname. Fans will then vote on the finalists later this season. Head to lovneb.com/nameyourteam to submit your nickname and get in the game. Submissions end on February 22nd. Name your team, shape the legacy.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off, and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, bold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
right along through Old School Austin and Jay with you. Final segment here brought to you, final segment ever two, of course, brought to you by Love Volleyball in Nebraska. Get your tickets to see former Huskers like Alexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson dominate the court at LOVBNEB.com. So way, as many times you want to throw way in there too early. Power rankings, Jay, from ESPN. Seattle number 1, New England at number 2. The Rams at number 3. Okay, checks out. Like they were really good all year. Denver at number 4. Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Buffalo at number 5. Their 3 words for the offseason: pressure is on.
Okay.
Okay. Number 6, the 49ers.
Oof.
I would push back because McCaffrey had such a good year. He's gone every other.
That's what I was just about to say. And the defense is a year older.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got Raheem Morris,
mm-hmm.
but I think also George Kittle got hurt late in the year, so then you got to think next year is probably in question. You mentioned
some would say questionable at best,
right? Definitely at best, and that's no knock on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him I don't like them at 6.
I would move Detroit over them.
I was just about to say that.
Maybe even Buffalo. Right now, I don't think Detroit's going to be quite as bad. Philly at 8. Interesting. Jacksonville at 9.
They're always in. Remember when they went up in New England, could have beat them up there in the AFC Championship?
Yeah, but they Bortlesed.
But the roster is young under all rookie contracts.
Except Trevor.
They have to get yes. But I'm saying their defense. Mainly, right? They got to get ETN signed back because he had a huge year.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jacksonville at 9.
Okay,
I'm fair with that because I like the match between the GM and head coach.
Okay, number 10, the Packers, another team with a late season injury to Micah Parsons, are at 10. The Bears are at 11. I would probably switch those because of the Parsons one, and maybe I'm with you. Move the Bears up, except first place schedule coming.
Yes, but just what if we just take the snapshot in the roster, the emergence of Caleb Williams. The two-headed monster at the running backs, the plethora of receivers, young D. I like it, and I like Ben Johnson. Yes, it's going to be a harder schedule, but I like it.
Chiefs at 12.
Chiefs are either going to be 12 or end up at 2 at the end of the year.
Houston at 13.
See, I like Houston up a little bit higher. See, I like Houston better in some ways than San Francisco because of the defense.
And Green Bay right now for me, maybe.
Green Bay, yeah. And I'm banking on CJ Stroud having a really good year next year.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm banking on Houston actually getting an offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Baltimore at 14. Off-season words all about Lamar. Chargers at 15. I would probably take the Chargers right now just because of head coach certainty.
Yeah. And the 2 tackles will be healthy. And you just trust Harbaugh.
Yeah. And then rounding out the top half of the league, according to ESPN, Jay, Cincinnati.
No.
I think that's way too high.
No.
And that's no disrespect to Zach Taylor, but that team just had so many issues.
The defense is still horrible.
Mm-hmm. One draft isn't going to save
You're probably going to lose T. Higgins. You're probably going to get rid of Trey Hendrickson.
Right.
So now you really don't have anything. And then all you have is Jamar Chase. And you have Joe Burrow that's hinting that he wants to be out of there. And the next team that's behind you, I'm willing to bet that we'll have a bounce back year. They better, or they're going to make a head coaching move within the first, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
they've been to the playoffs. They kind of tricked it off. Not kind of. They did trick it off.
Mm-hmm.
They should be way higher than the Bengals. They're still immensely talented. They still have a franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They still have a trio of running backs. And when healthy, with Mike Evans and Goodwin and all those guys, they're a problem.
Oh yeah.
And they got Mbuka down there too.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense is always going to bring it on the top goals.
Yeah.
I think they're way, way too low.
Dallas at 18, my Colts at 19, Commanders at 20, Steelers at 21. I think all those teams fit in a group for different reasons, right? A bunch of those have their quarterback locked in place in that range, really from Cincinnati down through, like I said, at least through Washington. Pittsburgh, we'll see what they do with McCarthy. But, Jay, that's where I think my Colts are a little bit of a wild card. ESPN says the 3 words their offseason, run it back.
Yeah.
You have to, but can you afford to? But what else can you possibly do?
Right.
I just don't know what to make of the offseason in Indy. Sounds like they're, pursuing a deal with Daniel Jones, but some big name players are up with a lot of, potential savings on their contracts. And you could get rid of
huge.
Pierce, potential tag or extend guy. Pittman's cost
Yeah.
$29 million this year. Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore, all guys that have played big roles for the Colts before, but really nothing tangible to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough though in that division, and when
But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be because it's a great time. They're ripe for the picking, but the problem is the quarterback position. You had it fixed with Daniel Jones, unfortunate injury, and also part of this with the Indianapolis Colts. What do you do with Richardson?
Right.
Because you're going to have to move him. You can't end up with
just go get a fourth for him.
Right. You don't want to be like San Fran and keep it at Trey Lance once a little bit a year longer when you know this isn't your guy. Maybe you could trade for Malik Willis or something like that, and maybe get it, or just kind of get a younger version of Daniel Jones on a 1-year contract, and Daniel Jones can kind of take his time to rehab later on in the season or off season. That's a huge year for Indy because I still like the roster. I think that's still a top 8 talented roster when put together.
Yeah.
I like it.
But, man, top 8 rosters don't lose that many games in a row.
I know, but I'm going to tell you, Austin,
they should have beat Seattle. They had them on the ropes. That would have been a heck of a win. But 8 in a row? 7 in a row, I guess, if you're 8 out of 9 when you're 7-1.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, look at San Francisco. They got decimated by injuries, too. In a tougher division. They found ways to win games. I don't know, man. It just makes me throw my hands in the air. So, North Dakota State talk coming up in hour 3.
Oh, yeah. Big one. Move. The funny thing about these type of moves, they put it out there. It's like a little hint, and then it just magically happens. like 3 days later.
Yeah,
pretty cool deal. Good for whoever in the Mountain West, boy, you better get ready.
Bison are coming. We'll talk about it in hour 3.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra-premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Oerman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Hour 3? Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, the Monday after the Super Bowl. Old School live in effect, 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by Graham Tire. Been in business for 75 years. They just don't take care of your tire needs. They take care of your vehicle, both car and truck. Check them out, Graham Tire. Austin set it up, teed it up like Tiger Woods. Big story coming out of college football, like always. And it's not the transfer portal. It's not a student athlete or whatever suing a school and saying, you know what, I was promised an NIL package, and once I got here, it wasn't there. The North Dakota State Rolling Bison. Long time being a thorn in FBS school side. Came on like gangbusters. And it's kind of been the team that you never wanted to schedule in the non-conference, right? So they took your money, and then obviously they took your heart. Has finally found a home in the big leagues. They are now going to the Mountain West Conference starting right now in 2026. The interesting thing is they have to pay roughly $17 million just for the football team to participate in the Mountain West. And it's only football.
Yeah.
And which is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting because when you think of North Dakota State basketball and some of the transfers that we've had, we had my man with the mullet last year from North Dakota State.
Yep, Andrew Morgan.
And then you had the one that went to Alabama.
Grant Nelson.
Right, and then a few others.
Sam Griesel.
Right, Sam Griesel as well. If they had kept those guys, they could compete in the Mountain West in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's interesting that it was only football. And maybe this is the first step to adding more teams. And, our friend Pete Thamel broke the story. Is expected to pay $12 million to join the league, with an additional $5 million will pay the NCAA to move to FBS. The NCAA should be paying them $5 million because it makes the Mountain West more whole.
Right.
But they're paying $17 million to get busy starting immediately. So we'll see what the schedule will be like. We'll get a little bit of Mountain West with a little North Dakota State at Hawaii.
Heck yeah.
Kicking off at 10:30 p.m. Central Standard
or Hawaii at North Dakota State. Either way, that's fun.
Well, they'll play at any time up there because it's an indoor dome. And so congratulations to them.
That's such a fascinating Mountain West right now, Jay, because you have your holdovers of Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, and Wyoming.
Yeah.
But the teams that they've had to add, Northern Illinois made this move from the MAC to
UTEP.
join the Mountain West. UTEP. What in the world, man? What a hodgepodge that conference is. But I think, to your point, this is a great feeling out process for them because it's been, as far as we can tell from the outside looking in, a really well-run organization that's hired good coaches, that knows how to attract talent in its niche, and is probably ready at this point for the next challenge. I mean, if St. Thomas can jump from, D3 to the Summit League, you would think that a Summit League team could jump to the Mountain West in football, right? That's a heck of a basketball league there in the Mountain West. So sure, maybe they need a couple years to work up to that in basketball, but in football, you mentioned some of those FBS teams that the North Dakota States beat. It's not that group. It's a bigger, badder group than that. So I think if you're North Dakota State, you're just hoping some of that institutional DNA carries over and it's business as usual, even though it can't be.
No, but I like, if I'm North Dakota State, I like my matchups now.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about playing Air Force, which is going to be a physical game, UNLV is a game opponent, but feel like you can, compete with the other teams. And then with the new teams that are coming in with you, Hawaii, Northern Illinois, and UTEP, you feel like, you're going to be in the Mountain West championship conversation, year in and year out. And, they're not new to having a sports team move up to FBS. I mean, wrestling is in the Big 12, and other sports are just going to probably wait and see. So I like it. I think the way that they play and where they play provides a unique opportunity, but some advantages for them. And by doing that, that's going to allow you to be ultra competitive right away. And that's why they probably were looking forward to it. So
here's the other aspect of this, Jay. If we're going to that college football super league, this is North Dakota State saying, hey, guess what? We're here too.
Right. Yeah. We don't want to be left out, even if you want us to be in the deregulation and regulation part of the super league. But we've made steps to slowly but surely get up there with the big boys. They have a couple, say it's going to come to fruition in 4 years, if they get a conference championship, maybe slip, group of 5 or something like that, but then they're consistently, competitive, what they're following, obviously in their pedigree, you like that at your, at the bottom of your, super league. Or
even if they're,
the second league.
Even if they're team 10 in the central division, if you go to 8 divisions of 10 or whatever it is, they deserve to be in there. And we got this from Virginia Pirate. You got to think that South Dakota State, South Dakota, and North Dakota should be joining soon after too, right? No, not necessarily.
South Dakota State, maybe.
But even then, that's really more recent. That's like the last 5 to 7 years for them.
And they've had turnover.
And not like North Dakota State hasn't, but they've done it through 4 straight coaches now, I think, that have won a title up there. So North Dakota State's more established than them. I know it's one state further away. Here's the other part, though, Jay. I mean, Fargo being right there on that border with Minnesota. I mean, you're right next to, a Big Ten state. You're not associated as much with your Montanas and Montana states, in that way, right? Who are certainly on the upswing in football and have been good. But let's not underrate the amount of cachet that North Dakota State has built up in the FCS ranks. There are a bunch of other, good programs that North Dakota State forced to raise their level. Your Sam Houston's, your James Madison's before they made the jump, teams like that. But North Dakota State has clearly been on a tier of its own in terms of managing success, managing turnover, and continuing to field good teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're the only one in the next 4 years that gets that call to make that jump.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually excited to watch and see, how they compete and how, it's one thing just look at, I want to see the body types, right? Yeah. I don't want to see the depth of their program, but seeing how they're able to take advantage of this opportunity. Also, you got to think the fact that they're going up to FBS, could affect Minnesota in in-state recruiting.
Oh,
It just popped in my mind when you're talking about not only the proximity has always been there, but they got a nice little town up there. I don't know if you've ever seen that ESPN when they're talking about when they had the college game day up there. But now that they're up in the FBS, it's actually appealing, and you can recruit really good players from the western part of away from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then up obviously in northwestern part of the state. You get some big boys up there, which they already do.
Yeah.
But now you can actually creep on down towards the city limits because, a lot of those guys are waiting around and they'll go to a little bit of a smaller Division I, you can get up there and go up to North Dakota State and be in the FBS.
Well, we've seen that a couple times as well. Maybe not the exact scenario, but James Madison
Yep.
moving to the Sun Belt, right? Picking off maybe some more talent from the DMV, even SMU, right? Taking the step up, or TCU going from the Mountain West to the Big 12, getting players that might have skipped right over them before. Obviously, FCS to FBS is a bigger jump, and those other areas, probably more talent dense. But North Dakota State, Jay, has made a living finding those diamonds in the rough. So this isn't going to be uncomfortable for them. It should just open more doors.
Well, also they recruit down in Florida too.
They do.
So, they're going to be able to keep going down there in Florida. So whatever the pipeline is from Florida schools down to or up to North Dakota State is just expanding because they've had a lot of success with players that are from that state, with the defensive backs. And obviously they've had to be strategic about it. But now, it just, it heightens or it, really puts a limelight on your profile, on your team. And so I'm sure they're excited about it. Obviously, I think it's still going to be a tough task. I think it also brings a little bit of energy to their off-season work that know that they're going to have to really be ready to go because your first impression is your lasting impression. And so we'll see, how it goes and what they do.
They only have one Eden Prairie guy on their roster for next year.
Yeah, there was a Eden Prairie alum that went there. And it was when another coach was there didn't have a good experience. I think Mike Grant shut down that pipeline.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I pull up. This is a numerical roster, but it's Texas, Frisco, where North Dakota State obviously has spent a lot of time playing for the FCS National Championship. Tampa, another Florida kid, a Maryland kid, and a New York kid. Their quarterback, Trey Drake, one of them. Before you get to the first, Minnesota, Illinois, Minnesota, another Florida, Missouri, Virginia. So for being, an FCS, school, a smaller brand, we know the power that North Dakota State holds at that level, right? We've had that discussion with plenty of Nebraska, student athletes before too. Would you rather walk on at Nebraska or take a scholarship and, 2/3 of the time be playing for a national championship at the FCS ranks? People all across the country know that North Dakota State brand because of how good that program's been.
Yeah, and they've been able to go get Trey Lance out of Marshall, Minnesota. They've been able to get Carson Wentz. And they got Cole Payton here who did a really good job, at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah,
they have a good eye for talent, and it hasn't stopped as they've had coaches move up. So I think they're going to be ready to go.
I'd be more surprised if they weren't. And there's always going to be an adjustment period, right? Something's going to surprise them. Something's going to pop up. Big Bank Hank says, I could see North Dakota State making it to the playoff before Nebraska. I hope you're joking. But
I hope not.
Seriously, the thing is they do still have that kind of probationary period, so they won't be eligible for the conference championship game for 2 years, which I don't really love, but I get it. You just got to see if you can remain solvent. Right, when you jump up to the FBS
and is
level.
That more of a financial thing?
Yeah, it's financials. Are you going to go that far underwater to where you have to jump back down to FCS if you can't hack it financially? You can't do that. But then here's the other interesting part, Jay, from Pete Thamel's article. NDSU also won't be able to fully access conference or college football playoff revenue until 2032, which is after the current media rights contracts all expire. So they got to wait, 6 years until the next deal and see if they're even still in the Mountain West to get a piece of any potential college football playoff deal. But the Mountain West in football hasn't really been close.
That's not much, but it's like, dang, you got to pay 17 to get in to play ball, and then you can't get any money, if any, and then you got to wait on a new deal. College football will have changed 3 times by then. So, yeah, it sucks for them, but I think the ability to play with the big boys and stuff like that, I think it will be well worth it. And it's only one sport, so they'll be able to, I think, to be able to survive pretty good.
Yeah. Missouri State made the jump just last year, I think. Went pretty well for them for the most part, especially for year one and Conference USA I think they were in.
Right.
So
it's been done before. Another Mississippi school did. I remember. I mean, it's been done before. It's not an easy. I think for most schools it's not an easy jump, but I think the way that they play, and the way that you know what I'm saying, and I will also say, their recruiting footprint will allow them to make an easier transition.
Yeah.
Right. They're heavy on the offense and defensive line. Heavy. They have a high retention rate. Right. And they develop guys, and they already have a team ready to go. So once they get out, they'll be able to play their game. And I think physically, from a physical standpoint, they'll be more than capable to withstand it. versus the other schools, I think, where they struggled across the lines, and that's where you see a little bit of the, downturn as far as their production. But, there's probably, it probably is about 3 or 4 years overdue, don't you think? I mean, how many national titles did they have to win before you're like, all right, you need to come up?
What, they won like 10 out of 15?
Right.
I think it was. And see, that's just the thing about this move, is that it never happens at the peak. And you never want to walk away from a league you're dominating when you're absolutely, at the peak. They won it 2 years ago, right? And then obviously got upset by Illinois State this year. But that's just the thing, Jay. We talk about it too in light of, say, Cincinnati, right? Didn't make the playoff the year they were probably at their best. Had to validate it again the next year to make the playoff and then get the doors blown off of them, right? North Dakota State, in terms of the on-the-field results, how they've played, seems like they've been ready for this move for a while. But you're just very rarely, if ever, afforded the opportunity to make that pivot when you're at your peak. And they're still good, right? They're still in the middle of their dynastic run, but it's not, okay, North Dakota State's inevitable, right? Thanos snap style. They had to wait till they came back down to earth a little bit. Other teams caught up to them. Oh, okay, now with college sports shifting, we can take you while you're here.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think also how they do will be part of the bigger picture as college football starts to transition and move forward.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not going to be the end all be all, but it's going to be part of the process. And so I think it's going to be a good thing. I'm excited to see them do it. Like you said, it would be really good to see them at their peak. But actually, maybe that they needed to continue to dominate because maybe across the lines they weren't ready. They've continued to kind of have their program evolve too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And as their profile and obviously having some quarterbacks, and let's not forget Easton Stick was up there as well. And in the running backs, and obviously we saw Shar Brown go down to Miami and got really level up.
Mm-hmm.
It's been onward and upward, and they've kind of always been able to be ahead of the curve. Especially with I think their success spurred South Dakota State to do it. Then they were, playing Sam Houston State all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then they were
Montana State right next door.
And they were and they might be next.
Boise on the other side for those schools too.
But North Dakota State has always been ahead of the curve coming down the backstretch to 400. And they finally are getting payoff. And so, congrats to them.
Mm-hmm.
Big story, man. I mean, obviously with the Super Bowl, you're not going to get a ton of, media attention, but I think it's going to be huge. And we got a text here from Big Bank Hank, Henry Big Bank Hank. It says, I could see, that's they're right there. So everybody thinks it's pretty positive. And yes, we got the text here from unknown texter 6296. We'll take a quick break right now, come back, and we'll come back. Bill Moose had released his book, and dang.
697 pages worth of book.
My man's up there in Montana just dropping straight bombs, so obviously the quote on with Scott Frost and everything. So get your text ready to send in. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra-premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Here's Stacy from Petal Creations.
Ordering flowers is intimidating if you don't know what you're doing.
Petal Creations experts care about designing a bouquet that conveys your special message from the heart.
You deserve to have a personal florist that you can depend on, who can take your message, turn it into a bouquet, and deliver it in a timely manner. And the rest is up to you.
Petal Creations in the Edgewood Shopping Center or at petalcreations.com.
So give us a call. We've got you.
Hey fellas, let's take a quick time out here. February is American Heart Month, and listen, men are the worst at getting checked out. We'll watch every stat in the league, but ignore the most important one. That's our own heart health. So here's the plan. Talk to your doctor about scheduling a quick heart screening at Advanced Medical Imaging. It's fast, it's easy, and it could save your life. Your family needs you around a lot more than your fantasy team does. Make the call, get the checkup, take care of your heart at Advanced Medical Imaging.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination. When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman. Quick little brief break as we get into breaking news. My man Tyrone. No, we ain't gonna call Tyrone, but Tyrone texted in. It's about one of the many quotes or obviously in Bill Moose's book, which is probably going to be New York's bestseller pretty soon. Because I know I'm gonna buy one, and I don't like to read, right? Unless it's Game of Thrones or something like that, I'm out on it. Here's what the excerpt that we got, and it says, "As pissed off as I was that Matt Davidson unexpectedly sat in on that meeting, I was glad he did, as it prompted me to tell Kendra, which is his wife, right, to stay in the room. And like many times before, her intuition proved to be invaluable." The quote goes, "He's not ready," she said, after closing the door that left just the two of us in the room. Too immature. This is in reference to Scott Frost.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree. But if I don't pursue him with everything that I've got and he ends up at Tennessee or Florida, I'm screwed. That's Bill Moose. Yeah, but if you bring Nebraska's golden boy home and he fails or falls flat on his face, you're really screwed. Remember, people have short memories. That's it. I mean, I think, the Scott Frost, the Scott Frost thing is, I think he's like probably the worst case of hemorrhoids that you can get. I haven't had, basically one of my teammates had a bad case of hemorrhoids, and it's like they won't go away. Right when you think you got it, like you're over it, cured, whatever, you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Then, oops, I'm back.
Miss me?
You miss me? And I'm
no, I did not.
And I'm coming back. It's worse every time. And there's a ton of them, man. He talks about the time that I think it was Ronnie Green gave him a 2-page letter, right?
Yep, I have that
that
one pulled up right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sit over here, Hank Bound said as he pointed to the chair directly across from Ronnie.
Sit down.
Chancellor Green has something for you.
Thank you.
I watched as Ronnie's shaking hand extended what appeared to be a document of some kind toward me and with a trembling voice told me to read it. Slowly and with caution, I took what turned out to be a 2-page letter, then became filled with shock as I read it. I was truly aghast. The sucker punch contained in those 2 pages made the earhole hit I took in my first college football game at Kansas look like a sock hop slow dance. Addressed to Mr. William Moose, it started with Dear Mr. Moose, immediately stated that he had received several reports regarding inappropriate and unprofessional behavior in public settings. Then went on to say that on multiple occasions, Kendra, again, Mrs. Moose, had been abusive and demeaning to members of my staff. His final claim was that I had authorized several modifications to my office that caused him to question my judgment and commitment to good stewardship of university resources.
Stewardship is be financially conservative.
Yeah.
I learned that word from Trev because he said it. And I asked him, what the heck does that mean?
What do you mean when you say this?
Yeah, just what is it? I need ebonics or just regular?
Or lay it out.
Yeah. He's like, well, Jay, us educated people, this is what we...
Come on, Harvard.
I'll just play it. No, I'm talking about Trev. I mean, it's crazy, man, where, you had, I think, this, I guess, it's interesting. Now, this is his take, right? And I guess you can take him for his word because, is it